Porn use. Why you watch what you watch. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. I'm going to tell you why you watch the type of porn that you do. And first, I'm going to tell you exactly why. Number two, I'm going to tell you what is going on in your brain that brings you back to that genre or scenario or whatever you have going on. It's different for all people. Number three, I'm going to tell you how to break that pattern, interrupt it so that you can move on without your pornography habit. Number one, why do you watch what you watch? People watch different types of pornography, different acts, different scenes, different scenarios for different reasons. But it all comes back to this one foundational and fundamental idea is that your brain has been coupled to that act or that scene or that scenario over time. So the way that it works is we're on number two, and we're combining them in this one. Number two is the brain mechanisms of what you're experiencing. So when you go back to a scene that you like or a particular person or a particular act, it's because your brain needs that for the highest amount of arousal and stimulation. It needs it so that your brain can feel calm and get that biggest dopamine rush possible to get the most numbed out feeling so you can escape and feel good. So you keep going back to that because you're getting the most dopamine, and at the same time, oxytocin is flooding your brain and it's coupling your brain to that particular thing. This is how fetishes develop. So you're being coupled to it and pulled back in because of dopamine and because of oxytocin. So your brain needs it. Now, if what you're watching no longer does it for you, and you might not even know this is happening to you when it happens to you. What happens is, and people tell me this all the time, I was just watching what I normally watch, and then I got curious and I checked this other thing out, and now I'm watching that. And it can be very disturbing for people. So it can make people question their sexual orientation. It is very arousing to people and they don't want it to be arousing. This has happened many times with people that I work with. What happens is when they go into that new thing, now the flood of dopamine is double what it was in the old scenes that you've watched. That intensity has just ramped up and your brain got this massive flood, more than it was getting, and now your brain is coupled to that. And your brain will want to go back because of this increase in intensity. So if you find that you're watching something that you don't particularly want to watch, but you can't stop because you are finding it arousing and you're questioning your sexual orientation, it's because of the dopamine and the oxytocin. Your brain wants it and needs it and is glad it got it in this huge hit, and it's being coupled to it. So, number three, what's the way out? You got to interrupt the pattern. You have to stop watching it. Back yourself out if you can. Most people can't, just so you know. But back yourself out, decrease the intensity, stay away from the thing that just gave you more dopamine because it's going to continue to couple your brain to it through the use of the neural pathways over and over and over. Neurons that fire together wire together. So if you keep watching it, it becomes your arousal template. It becomes the thing that arouses you because it gives you the most of the neurotransmitters. So you have to stop watching it. And we know from the science that porn ruins real sex because many of the acts that you're watching are not meant to happen with a partner. I don't need to tell you that, right? But you need to break that so that when you're with your partner and you're with your honey in the real world, you can actually be satisfied because you have to bring those dopamine levels back down to healthy levels, decrease the intensity, and spread it out. Intensity, intimacy, connection, happiness, serotonin. Get all the neurotransmitters flowing in the perfect cocktail, not the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid is just intensity. If you've had Kool-Aid in the past, it's red. It makes your tongue red for days. That is too intense. You don't want your tongue red for days. You want to enjoy your experience and not worry about the performance and be in it with your partner and satisfied and happy and connected to your partner. You have to leave it behind. So you either have to rip the Band-Aid off if you can, or get into a program that can help you move through the recovery process of unwiring your brain, getting rid of that porn brain that pushes you back when the screen's pulling you back in a supernormal stimulus, rewire your brain towards the healthy, optimal levels, and then hardwire that brain pattern in forever. Neurons that fire together, wire together. If you want help on that journey, reach out to me, drtrishleigh.com. Check out the new site, pornbrainreboot.org, nonprofit. All the investments in the program go back into helping people leave porn behind. And as always, please remember, control your brain, or indeed, it will control you.